All right, so in this problem, we're going to be talking about average rate of change. Now, rate of change is a fancy way to say slope, but you really can't take the slope of like a quadratic or an exponential unless you are given very specific points. And so that's when we really look at what's the average rate of change. So you're going to use the average rate of change, and this is right from the formula sheet. The average rate of change is the change in the y value divided by the change in the x value of two distinct points on a graph. Like, they literally tell you that. They also give you the slope formula if you want to use the slope formula. It's the same thing. Average rate of change is just a fancy way of saying slope between 2 points. So consider this parabola. If we look at this parabola on the right-hand side, we can see, and I'll just leave it like this. We can see that between here, this point here and this point here, it went up 3 and over 1. So that would be just 3 over 1, which is 3. But when we compare here, it went up 5 and over 1. So that rate of change would be 5. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what points they're telling you. So if we look down here, we have this graph here, and actually I will, let's refresh this and open up the scientific just in case. So it says where x equals 1 and x equals 2. So here's x equals 1, and here is x equals 2. So we're looking at this area right here. So from this point to this point, I went down 3 and over 1. Now, hopefully you know that in your head, but if you don't, the top is the up and down. I went down 3, and the bottom is the left or right, and I went over positive 1. So here, this answer is negative 3, because again, I went down 3 and over 1, which is the same thing as saying negative 3 over positive 1 that we just put into our scientific calculator. All right, for this next piece, it says between 2 and 5. So when I look between 2 and 5, here's x equals 2 and x equals 5. Now, it doesn't matter that the graph curves and goes up. We're only looking at those 2 points. So in order for me to get up to 5, I had to go back up 3. So I went up 3, which is the same thing as saying positive 3. And then I went over 1, 2, 3. I went to the right 3, which is the same thing as saying positive 3. And hopefully you know 3 divided by 3 is 1. So it says which is greater. Now, this is kind of tricky. Now, this is what gets tricky. Because this is negative 3, basically it says that it's decreasing because of the negative at a rate of 3 per one thing. This is increasing at a rate, because it's positive, of 1 over 1. So which actually has the greater rate of change? X equals 1 to x equals 2 has the greater rate of change, because even though it's decreasing fast. And so that has a greater rate of change. Okay, I'm not going to do the next one. All right, see you soon.